All right, cool. Welcome to day 4, guys. We are at the final day of our goal setting challenge. And I appreciate you guys for being here and joining me for this workshop. And so, we're going to start today by really just doing a recap of all the stuff that we've gone through. And remember, when you're setting goals like this, you're really committing to this future version of yourself. And you're committing to yourself that you're actually going to start doing these things. And so that's the reason why this workshop was designed this way, so that you could actually spend 3-4 days digging into your past behaviors, your self-critic, your saboteurs, your limiting beliefs, the emotions that have kept you in the same place or that have kept you stagnant, that have caused only 8% of people to actually follow through on their New Year's resolutions. And so this year, hopefully if you guys attend this workshop, that you will become a part of that 8% that actually follow through and that actually hold yourself accountable to doing these things. And so that's why it's so important to set these goals, have that clarity, create the self-motivation that you need in order to actually follow through on the things that you say you're going to do. And so having an accountability system, having a consistency system to where it's like, hey, I'm taking action every single day and I know where I'm trying to go. And then also understanding when the going gets tough, how you tend to react in those situations, how you tend to hold yourself back or have those limiting beliefs that tell you that you're not good enough, that tell you that you're not capable enough. So we're going to go ahead and jump back into the workbook. I'm going to kind of show you guys where we should be at, and then we'll get caught up to day 4. Today, we're going to talk about how those limiting beliefs will tell you that you're not capable, how the self-critic is going to show up, and how your past emotions are tied to your current output. And so what we need to do is break through those barriers, create awareness around when those saboteurs show up so that you can recognize them, discard them, say that they're no longer of use to you, tap into your sage superpower associated with those saboteurs so that you can actually take action and start creating the life that you're trying to create for yourself, to become an active creator of your future. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. Go back to the workbook. So we got the workbook here. After, day 1, we should have set our long-term vision, our 30-year projection into the future, be as bold as possible with this. I want you guys to write down hundreds of things, because the more things that you write down, the more you set out to do in the universe, the more likely it is that you'll be able to accomplish them. And the more successes that you generate, the more success that's going to happen in your life. So, write down every single thing that you want to accomplish in your lifetime. Make sure it's a life that you're excited about, one that you can look back on and be like, oh my gosh, I fucking did it. I accomplished every single thing that I wanted to accomplish, and I'm happy and I'm proud of the life that I lived. I want them to write a movie after me, because if it's humanly possible, you can do it too. So you might as well dream big. So after you have your 30-year projection, we're going to go down to 3 years. That's our vision for the immediate future. We're going to create a vision for our personal life. We're going to create a vision for our business, our wealth, our finances, our professional life. We're going to create a vision for our relationship, our family, our friendships, our relationship to ourselves. And we're really going to hone in and embody what that looks like from a perspective of where you're currently at now, and then where you're trying to go in the next 3 years. And you need to be as clear as possible with these things, because if you have a direction, if you know where you're trying to go, then it becomes much easier for you to actually get there. If you have no idea where you're going, then you're going to end up somewhere random too. So have an idea of where, begin with the end in mind, right? Know where you're trying to go, and that's the only way that you're going to get there. And then be flexible with how you actually get there. Now that we have our 3-year vision, we're going to assess where we currently are, because your actions today are a clear reflection of where you currently are. So be honest and transparent with this assessment. Be brutally honest, because this is how you can start to understand where you need to take action. If you are, labeled relationships a 1 out of 5, then that should be your priority for 2024. You should focus on bolstering your relationships so that you can feel better about that pillar of your life. Because if one of those pillars is significantly suffering, then that needs to be the #1 priority. And maybe you don't even write goals for the rest of them, because you want to focus solely on bolstering your connection and your relationships to yourself and to other people. But obviously that's going to be for you to decide. And that's why you need to be boldly honest about your situation and where you are, because your life today is a reflection of your current behaviors and habits. So that's the number one thing that I want you guys to take from this, that it's your daily habits that are going to change your life. And so if you don't change anything, you're going to continue to get the same results that you've always gotten, right? It's the definition of insanity. So reflect on those commitments. Where are you currently existing versus living? How are these aspects defining my life? And then where are your true priorities and your values? You know, if you say you want something, but every single day you avoid that, you procrastinate against that, you're not actually doing what you say you want, then your actions and your words are not in alignment with what you actually say. So you need to either change the things that you're doing in order to align with what you're saying, or you need to like do some deep self-reflection and say, is this actually what I want? Because this is not what I'm doing on a daily basis. And that's okay too. It's just a matter of making sure that your vision, your actions, and your words align with one another, because that's when you're aligned and that's when you're authentically being yourself. So after you've done your 3-year vision, we're going to break down those goals into SMART, specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, time-bound goals, so that you actually start taking action towards making these things happen. So you're going to set up to 3 goals for health, 3 goals for finance, 3 goals for work, and 3 goals for relationships. And then we're going to go ahead and get into our saboteurs here. So I sent the saboteur quiz, so you guys can take that in the Facebook group. What I want you to do is write out your top saboteurs, rank them on how much impact they have in your life currently, how loud that self-critic is when it's speaking to you and when it's telling you that you're not capable, that you're not good enough, that you will never succeed, whatever those words are, so that you can bring awareness to them, tell it to shut up, and get back to work. Nurture your sage voice, really tap into your empathy, your curiosity, find the lesson, find the blessing. That way, when you are taking action on these goals, you realize that it's the journey that is actually worthwhile. It's the day-to-day that makes this enjoyable. Once you get to the top of the mountain when you're hiking, it's cool, but like, it was the process of getting to the top that was enjoyable. That's what made it fun. It was the conversation that you had along the way. It was the people that you engaged with, not actually being up at the top of the mountain. You get up there and you're like, all right, that was cool. And you go back down. So remember, it's the same thing with life. Like, it's the day-to-day, finding joy in those nothing moments, in the monotony, learning how to find joy in the habits that you have built, the lifestyle that you've created to get you to the point of the final resolution. Then we're going to go ahead and turn this into action, right? So we set 3 to 5 key action items for each goal so that you can take progress every single day. You're going to schedule that into your calendar. The example that we used was losing 20 pounds in 3 months. So our goal was to key action item, put our clothes out for the gym the night before, make sure that you're ready to go. You're going to go to the gym 4 days a week in the morning, and then you're going to prepare at least 80% of your meals at home and stay within your calorie deficit of minus 250 calories from your basal metabolic rate, so that you're in a deficit of 750 calories per week, or 3,500 calories per week, which is 1 pound. Establishing accountability. We're going to send this to a close friend. We're going to, share it with our partner. We're going to share it with our parents. We're going to hold ourselves accountable if you're one of those rare people that have that ability. I know that I don't. I definitely strive when I know that other people are counting on me to do what I say that I'm going to do, which is, part of the reason for this workshop, right? So commit to transparency, right? I'm being transparently honest with you guys. When I commit to doing something and other people know about it, I'm much more likely to follow through. The irony is that we're much more likely to take care of our animals and our friends and our partners and our parents so much more than, or our children, so much better, and give them so much more of ourselves than we're willing to give to ourselves. And in reality, it should be the opposite. You can't pour from an empty cup. So fill your cup up first, and then all the excess can spill over into all of the people that you love, so that you can truly begin to take care of them. And that's why, becoming the best version of yourself is so powerful, because the betterment of one human is the betterment of humankind. So we're kind of caught up to the end of day 3 here. You decided on an accountability system. You have a friend that you shared your goals with. And so now we're going to go ahead and get into embracing this change, embodying it, truly becoming your future self, because that's what it takes, right? So you have to be it, you have to think it, you have to be it, and you have to do it. So think about who you want to become. That's what this vision workshop is, right? You're thinking, you're creating in your imagination the best possible future for you. Then every single day, you're going to look at your workbook and you're priming your brain, you're reprogramming your subconscious mind to look for opportunities to help you get to where you're trying to go. So you need to become your future self, but in order to become your future self, you need to imagine that person first. Who is that person? Who do they hang out with? What do they do every single day? And actually become them. Start doing the things that they would do. Start wearing the clothes that they would wear. Hang out with in the circles that they would hang out with. And eventually you will become that person. You will no longer feel that imposter syndrome. You will truly step into that and you will embody that best version of yourself. And then you continually evolve and enlighten yourself to where you get to a place where you're very content with who you are and where you're going. So we're going to go ahead and get into confronting these limiting beliefs. So you did your saboteur quiz. You know what your inner critic says. For me, I have a hyperachiever, so I'm going to use that as an example here. And my hyperachiever posits that I'm not good enough unless I'm accomplishing things all the time, unless I'm constantly being busy, being productive, doing things that are meaningful. And so what I need to do is understand that I have value as a human being without having to accomplish anything, without having to prove my worth to anybody else. So for you, it's going to be create awareness around what those limiting beliefs tell you and recognize that they don't make you, that you have value and that you are whole and that you are enough as you are. So that way you can confront these things and then truly embody and step into the empowered version of you so that you can take control of your narrative and actually create the future version of yourself that you want to become. So understanding these behaviors, identify on them, reflect on them, write them down. That way, when they do come up, you can look back at when you have reflected on them and say, hey, this has held me back in the past. This is a pattern. This is something that I continue to repeat. How can I do something differently, right? We're not held back by the things that we do know. We're held back by the things that we think we know that aren't so. So a big thing for me was, what got me to where I am in my life isn't what's going to get me to the next level. So you have to shed some of those layers of yourself in order to evolve and to become the next version of yourself. And so, some of the oftentimes these saboteurs will disguise themselves as something that's helping you, as something that's been beneficial to you, like my hyperachiever, right? It's allowed me to excel in school and it's allowed me to excel in relationships and it's allowed me to do a lot of things. But in order to get to where I'm trying to go, I need to have hyper focus and really begin to hone in on the one thing, my top priority that's going to help me get to the next level, because I can no longer try to do 12 things at once and do all of them well. So now I have to focus on doing one thing really, really well, and then move on to the next. So empowerment through action. This is where you're going to write those daily steps that are the top priorities for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at your honest self-reflection, the honest assessment that you've taken of your life. Hey, my relationships, I ranked as a 3. My business, I ranked as a 4. And my health, I ranked as a 2. Okay, well, maybe I should probably prioritize my top goals in my health, because that's a 2, where everything else is closer to a 5, right? The goal is to get all of these pillars to a 5. So I'm going to focus on my top priority being, I need to take action towards bettering my health, because that is going to make me show up better in my relationships, going to make me show up better in my professional life. And then that in itself is going to help me bolster those other pillars as well. So be really honest here to actually do that self-assessment and then to move forward and take action. Next, this is kind of what we've been talking about, right? Like today, the reason you are where you are is because of the fact that of the daily action that you take. It's the habits that you've created. It's the lifestyle that you live. So you have to commit to becoming a different person in order to get different results. And now what I want to stress here is that you don't have to have this massive lifestyle change. You need to understand where you are and where you're trying to go, and then make one small commitment that's possible, that becomes more in alignment with who you are and who you're trying to be. So self-development doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process. And it's from a motivational perspective, we gain motivation by generating short wins. And so when you start to see in the mirror that you are becoming a different person, when you are going to the gym and you start to notice the changes physically, when you're starting to get stronger, it reinforces that decision that you are a healthy person and that you want to continue to get fit. And it allows you to continue to take that next step. And it becomes a positive spiral for you to continue down that path. And eventually you embody that identity. So you need to develop the habits that are necessary in order to become the person that you're trying to become. And the habits begin with one small step at a time. They begin by removing barriers that are stopping you from getting to where you're trying to go. So if you're trying to get fit and you've never been able to get fit before, you need to remove all of the barriers that are limiting you from getting fit, whether it's you don't have the time, you don't have a gym membership, your partner doesn't want you to go. Remove the barrier that's holding you back so that you can start to make small, gradual progress in that arena. And finally, we're going to reflect on the gain and the gap. So this is a really cool concept that I learned from Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan. And I wanted to end this kind of workshop on a high note to show you guys that, you know, not only can your future be as grand as you possibly want it to be, but you've accomplished a lot in your life. And there's reason to look back and to be proud of yourself, to reflect on that and to be like, hey, I'm may not be where I want to be, but I'm a hell of a lot farther along than I was. And so we tend to overestimate what we can do in 3 months, but underestimate what we can do in 3 years. And so if you start today and you start small, I guarantee you, starting with those small daily actions, removing the barriers that are holding you back, silencing the inner critics that are telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not capable enough, is going to help you catapult to becoming your future self, because now there's nothing holding you back. There's no barriers that are in your way. You become a juggernaut and you become this flywheel that's going to continue to get compounding gains and compounding interest. So I want you to really reflect on this, acknowledge all of the difficult situations that you've overcome and all the insights that you've gained. Recall how far you've come on your journey and realize that where you're going is meaningful and worthwhile. And no matter how long it takes, it's worth it. So here's a space for you to kind of reflect on that. And then we're going to go ahead and plan for the future so that you can visualize where you're trying to go. I want you to close your eyes and really, truly become that person. See the person that you're trying to become one with them, become in alignment with that person, embody who they are so that you can show up not only in 3 years as that person, but today as that person. Because remember, you have to think it, then you have to be it, and you get to do it. And so embodying all of these habits, taking all of this action is what's going to help you create the law of cause and effect that's necessary for you to get to where you're going. So we're going to go ahead and commit to a daily practice for ongoing development. This is something that Andrew Huberman talks about a lot. Beginning each day by acknowledging things that you're grateful for, right? We all kind of will exist with this cloud over our head when things are going bad. And the key to overcoming that is having gratitude for the life that you do have. We live in a beautiful country if you're in America, and we are very lucky to have access to all of the things that we have access to. We live better today than the kings and queens of the 1600s did by far. And so when you start to acknowledge all the things that we have just as our God-given abilities and our God-given rights to be born in this day and age, we're very lucky and grateful to be alive and to be able to even, you know, to be watching me on this computer screen. So have some perspective, have some gratitude, and then set your plan for the day. Set your clear action items in order of priority. Eat the frog, do the hardest, nastiest, ugliest task first, and it'll make everything else for the day seem very easy. Confront all of these negative emotions, release any of them that may hold you back or tell you that you're not capable, because it's the negative programming conditioning that have taught you that. It's the teacher's voice when you were in third grade that said, oh no, you can't do that, you're not special enough to do that, you can't be president, you're not tall enough to be a professional football player. Like, whatever it may be, that's their voices that have been imprinted into your brain. You can rewrite that and say, hey, I am capable, I have a growth mindset, and if it's humanly possible, then I can do it too. It's just a matter of how much time, effort, and energy I'm willing to put in, and what I'm willing to give up in order to get there. And then stay mindful, stay conscious, stay present, be intentional, and all of the opportunities that you're looking for will continue to become, will just come to you, because of the fact that you're so attuned to who you're trying to become. Because every single day you're waking up, you're looking at your journal, you understand who you are and where you're trying to go, and then you become a magnet for all of those opportunities. And finally, you're going to conclude that daily routine by setting intentions and setting priorities for what you wish to accomplish or embody for that day. So that's what I want you guys to commit to, is doing these 5 things on a daily basis, so that you can truly embody and become your future self. Visualize that person, do whatever it takes to make sure that you stay on top of your goals for 2024, and that you become a part of the 8% that actually follow through on the things that they say they're going to do. And that's it for the workbook, guys. So I'm going to stop sharing this, and I appreciate you guys for joining along on this journey, and I hope you guys had fun and learned some things. If you guys need help with any of your inner critics, with your saboteurs, with your mental fitness, then go ahead and reach out to me. I can help you guys out with all of those things, teach you guys mindfulness practices, teach you guys how to be more conscious, more present, more intentional, teach you how to actually set these goals, and then hold you accountable to actually doing what you're saying you're going to do. Because we need to make that commitment not only to ourselves, but to our future selves. And oftentimes we need somebody else that's going to hold us accountable to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do. So thank you guys so much. Over the next day or two, I'm going to be sharing my completed workbook with you guys. So I want to just go live and share that with you guys, and have you guys ask me any questions that you may have about your workbook, or about your goals, or about limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. So thank you guys again for joining this workshop. I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this, and I look forward to helping you guys accomplish all of your goals in 2024 and beyond.